We say no. We say no. We say no. We say no. Fascism's got to go.
Democrats singing for the rights of suspected murderers, terrorists, child rapists, and MS-13 members as they formed a human chain outside an ICE facility in New Jersey that holds the worst of the worst. It's the same center that saw a trio of House Democrats storm their way in and clash with agents, who now claim they're the victims.
I think there's a lot of opportunities for DHS, for ICE to de-escalate the situation. They chose not to.
Nothing happened other than the chaos that they created themselves. If anything, we were pushed and shoved.
I honestly do not know how to body slam anyone. There's no video that supports me body slamming anyone.
Thank God for the body cams. The feds releasing footage that shows at least one of those Democrat lawmakers shoving and elbowing federal officers. Naturally, AOC's lobbing threats over the DEMSURRECTION.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson-Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Jesse, why isn't she wearing clothes?
I don't know. We should have pixelated that. I'm sorry. We should have had a viewer warning. Dana, what do you think about the DEMSURRECTION?
Well, I think that breaking the law in defense of people who broke the law by virtue of being in this country is viewed as a way to get ahead in the Democratic primary for the gubernatorial race in New Jersey. There's an open primary. Republicans and Democrats are at it right now, and that election is being held this November. And the guy who got arrested, the mayor of Newark, he's a longtime antagonist, and instead of being criticized by people in his party, he's being praised. And guess what else? Getting a lot of name ID. And I would bet that his FEC report will show that he got a lot of donations, because the perception bias is something that we're really dealing with here. Like, I look at this and think, this is awful. They were against an officer of the law. This is crazy. In the meantime, on their side, they're like, yeah, go for it, get them. And I think we're going to have a lot more of this on our hands. This also happened in Massachusetts, where you had a city council member trying to prevent a violent criminal, illegal immigrant, a woman, from getting into a car to be taken away. And so I'm hoping we don't see a lot more of this, but it seems to me that the Democrats are fanning the flames and wanting more of it and more of the attention.
Fanning the flames. Everyone wants a mugshot now.
It's so true, but that's so January 6th. Trump is the king of the road, and that road is common sense. And it forces its political opposition to resort to absurd theatrics and asinine alliances, whether it's gangbangers or trans athletes or Hamas. This is because there's no room for them. If you reject Trump's path, which is common sense, you're left with indulging in tantrums and bum rushing, an ICE facility, and you get yourself further and further out of mainstream. The Dems claim they were set up. They were. In the grander scheme, they were set up. They were given two choices in this prison of two ideas. You either, embrace common sense and puts you in Trump camp, or don't and look a fool. We knew what they would choose. So that was a setup, but they walked right into it. The setup was a giant room that said, you're set up. They can't veer back into common sense because Trump owns that turf. So what are they going to do now? How do you go to the left of this? Are you going to move MS-13 into the Four Seasons, have Tren de Aragua take over Disneyland? If they were really sympathetic, I could be sympathetic to them if these people took illegals into their homes. Mm-hmm. Then I would say, okay, gotcha.
Remember, they flew him to Martha's Vineyard, and in 24 hours, they were gone.
Yeah, 50 of them, and they all could have been housed in Barack and Michelle's house, but they chose not to go down that path. I wonder why. I love the bump in music you chose with the melodious protest singers, Jesse. That was really good.
Thank you.
Added to my playlist. I love the excuse given by Watson Coleman. She's one of the Congress people that you're watching, or I think it's a he, whatever. I'm sorry if I misgendered. But they said if there's any such body slamming kind of footage, that footage is manufactured for a certain purpose. Okay, so we're back to cheap fakes. Don't believe what you're seeing. No one made this footage. It is in fact real. And these guys have two inescapable facts. Number one, DHS came out Friday and said point blank, had these members requested a tour, we would have facilitated such tour. And then number two, since then, some Democrats have gotten into the facility and said the conditions are great. So this is all for naught. It is all for, to Dana's point, political posturing.
So the conditions are great. Are you going to take a tour, Harold?
No, but I tend to agree with what you guys are saying. I think Congress has, first of all, what the president's done on deportations and what he's done on the border and immigration, I agree with. I'm part of the 80, 78, 80, whatever the percentage of Americans who are in support of what he's doing. Are there maybe some legal questions or concerns that people have? They have every right to address that with the courts, and we have to follow what the courts say. In this instance here, you and Dana are exactly right. If they have not asked for, we had our own, I believe, Rachel Campos Duffy, go tour one of these centers. If they just ask for the tour, if what you're saying is right, I don't understand this behavior other than for the political theater and the political pictures it may give. These issues of deportation, these issues of immigration are very, very serious issues. And whether you agree with President Trump or not, or what we're doing in the country in terms of our policy is up to you. But what we can't agree with is behavior like this. I want fewer arrests and more legitimate oversight. Whether you're Democrat or Republican in Congress, you have every right to exercise oversight, and there's a process, as Kayleigh just said, in which how you do it. It doesn't appear that we're doing it that way.
Well, if we had put tariffs on these migrants, their labor wouldn't have been so cheap, and we could have hired Americans. Oh, isn't that interesting how that works, Harold?
You know
we got to go.
Proponent of that has been Republicans, your immigration policy.
They're dumb, too. Ahead, Hog Wild admits Democrat men are soy boys. Plus, who's the safest white boy, according to Jasmine Crockett? Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.